welcome to the Blessed Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raykel Tosin, and this podcast is to help you experience being blessed that transcends a mere hashtag. Now, let me give you my disclaimer. I'm not a preacher, a prophet, or a Bible scholar, but I am a God-worshiping, Jesus-loving, Bible-believing, New Thought Christian who believes that God blesses us according to our faith and how we work his principles. So if you're ready to be encouraged, enlightened, and entertained, then you're in the right place. I'm broadcasting on WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network, a nonprofit charitable radio broadcast with a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. If you are enjoying the Blessed Podcast, please go to www.wytv7.org and press the donate now button. Thank you so much. Our podcast is, once again, we're sponsored by Tosin Publishing, and we have a new shirt, God is good and so am I. You can go to tosinbooks.com/shop and get you one for you and your family, because, at church, everybody likes to say God is good all the time. But it's time for the church to realize that we are good too. We are made in the image and likeness. All right, so we have been celebrating mothers all month. We are at the end of the month, and unfortunately, we are at the end of the season. So this is the last show of Blessed until September, which means we won't be here in June to celebrate fathers. So I didn't think that was fair. So I say, what could we do to celebrate mothers and fathers in this one day? So you know what? I found someone who actually I feel is a great guest for this week. He is Sherman Urquhart, and he is a widower. So he is a father, and he is actually stepped in the mother role. But we'll talk more about that with him. Let me give you a little bio. He is an educator, an author, a certified fitness trainer, and life coach. But wait a minute, that's not it. He got so much. Y'all gonna see the degrees behind him. He has a bachelor's in English. He has a master's in education. He has an educational specialist degree in education leadership, and he's working currently on his doctorate. I have not met a lot of people with more degrees than me. So welcome, Sherman. How are you?
How you doing? That's a tall order, huh?
Right. I'm like, because school is good. I love learning. So it was a no-brainer for me to just keep going,
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll probably still keep going after it's over. Just keep on going.
I'm constantly learning stuff. I'm new little certificates, getting this to learn this and that. Yeah. So
Definitely.
Kindred spirits.
Yep.
All right. So you know what? We are here to talk about motherhood, but from a father's point of view. I guess that's what we're really doing. So talk to us. Share with us how you became mother and father of your 4-year-old princess.
Well, my wife, we were married 3 years, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and metastasized. She had it before. So, but when I met her, I kind of knew, some of her history because she had already beaten it twice. She was a 2-time survivor. And so I'm thinking that, it's probably gone for good. She was in remission. So it's I didn't know a lot about cancer at the time. I hadn't done a lot of study on it because it hadn't affected me or my family too much. But I did become versed in it after my wife was diagnosed for a 3rd time. And she fought until she just could not fight anymore. But in March of last year, she finally got her wings and was, she departed. So, and there wasn't a lot of pain or anything. She just basically rested comfortably until she left. And at that point, our daughter was 3. So she had just turned 3. So she was kind of 2 as we were going through the transition. But when everything was done, she turned 3. So then suddenly I was left with a 3-year-old daughter. I have a son who's 14. His mother and I co-parent with him. And that's a little different, though, with a girl. Because I hadn't been doing a lot of hair or things like that. My wife took care of all of that. So when she left, I had to learn quickly how to take care of a toddler girl. And since then, it's been a journey of discovery. It's been very fulfilling, and we bonded. So we're in a new season now. It's been about a year and a couple of months since my wife passed. Today is actually her birthday.
Oh,
so
happy birthday!
Happy heavenly birthday! So she's we're just working to make sure that she's proud and she can be honored, and she can feel good about what's going on down here with us. So I've kind of been taking on both roles. Father and the nurturing, the coddling aspect of motherhood, because I know children need that, especially girls. So I've done the best I can at that, me not being a woman and all. But
you know what? That's really interesting, because I want to stop right there, because I just want to put a pin in that, because this is something we talked about this in my show. I believe last year we were talking about, like, what is it to be a man? And I guess even with the father. So, is it the mother's job to coddle, to comfort, you want to say, like how you said, like, where did we get that from? Like, where do we think? Because I'm sure we got it really from watching our mothers do this and our fathers do this. But is it really a mother's job to be the nurturer? Like, could a father be that, even with the mother in the house? Could the father be the nurturer?
I think they can do it. I think they can both give that aspect to a child. I think they do it in different ways. I think a father, what might be seen as a father being tough on his son, for instance, the son might consider that nurturing. Like, my father was a tough man, a few words, but I felt nurtured by him just being in his presence. When he allowed me to do stuff with him, like work on a car or something like that, I felt nurtured then, even though it wasn't the hugging, kissing sort of coddling that my mother would give. So I think children can receive it in different ways from parents who are going about their day-to-day routines and including the child.
Yeah.
So I think children can get it from both parents in different ways, and it's just as important from both parents, I think.
Right. But now that you are kind of both parents, so do you find yourself that you make yourself hug her, or is it natural for you to hug her? Because I saw a picture. She's huggable. You just want to hug her.
It's both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's both on this discovery. I have to catch myself. I have to make sure she gets her hugs and her kisses and all of that, because I'm quickly turning into a jungle gym with her. So she's all over me, and instead of getting frustrated by it, I'm like, well, this is what she wants. This is what she needs. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy it too, because we're bonding. Mm-hmm. So at first it was a little awkward, because I wasn't sure how to navigate that sort of thing. But God kind of helped me, or kind of opened things up to me and made it clear, this is not very difficult. You just have to be there for her, all day long. You have to let her do whatever she wants, basically. And
let her do whatever she wants. I think that's because she's 3. That's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dad's not going to let that go for a long time.
Yeah, in this season, like I tell my son, he was over the other day, and I'm still teaching him how to deal with her. Like, give her what she wants. Just whatever she's trying to take from you, even if she only wants it for a minute and give it back to you, give it to her.
I can see how he is like, no, we're going to have to change this real soon.
Yeah, but he doesn't, like I said, I got to live here with her. So you deal with it your way, I'll deal with it my way.
I love it. It's really interesting, because I was a single mother, just a single mom, not because of death or anything like that, but I was never the huggy. I'm not very huggy, touchy, all that feeling. My son and my boy, he needed that, but we had my mother lived with us, so my mother gave him all that, so I didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. And even now he's grown, and And like right now, because we're the the COVID, and I'm like, we live together, but I'm like, social distance, come on, back up.
Yeah, right. Ain't no social distancing up in here.
That's what he said. Yeah. He said there is no social distancing up here. He said because he'll like want to high five me because we work out together, and he want to high five. I'm like, He's like, he's like, you better high five me. It's hilarious, but he's always been like that. But so
that's sweet.
It's funny because like if that's a mother's role, then it's like, oh my gosh, I was a failure to mother because I didn't give him that. But I had my mother, so he did get it. Yeah. It's really interesting how when we think about what our roles are and how to parent, you said it, God really, he helps us. Spirit gives us guidance. There is nothing that we don't know. Right. We think we don't know it, but there's nothing that we have the answers to everything. Like it's when I say that, people look at me like, yeah, we don't know everything. Yeah, but we do. We have a connection to get all the answers. And then so it was easy. Well, it wasn't easy, but once I really got connected, I was able to provide some of the masculine things that my son needed when there wasn't a father at home. Of course, I made sure that he had men around him, but sometimes it was at the house. I remember one time I pulled up from work. He was outside practicing basketball. He may have been about 7, maybe 7 or 8, practicing shooting with my mom. And I pulled up and he was like, I was like, what y'all doing? He was like, I'm trying to shoot a 3. And he was like, and I was like, throw me the ball. I kid you not. Got the ball, backed up, shot a 3. I am not athletic at all. Not athletic at all. Shot that 3. I mean, I just knew I was going to do it. I was like, let me show you. And he looked like, what?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, he was trying to think that you a girl. You just did that. And I did that. And I constantly, I tell people all the time, Spirit was always with me when I needed to be athletic, when I needed to be masculine, whatever, so my son can get that. And so I'm sure that's what you are feeling.
Yeah.
Even doing the hair, right? You figuring it out.
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, folks say you're doing such a good job. I'm like, I'm doing the only job I can do. What am I supposed to do? Right. I got to do something, So
right.
I might try to be good at it, and because I know she needs that more than ever now. So right. The least I can do is try to make sure her path is clear and full of love and support. So
yes, I'm so excited about your journey. I mean, I believe that you guys are going to do really great, and you're going to be able to, because you are a coach, you're a life coach. So I mean, just think this is just another aspect that you can help single fathers, whether they be widowers or just, taking care of their kids with, they're sharing custody, but being able to do a good job, because no longer should it be that moms get babies because they're mothers. People should share custody, but both people should do a good job. Nobody should fall by the wayside. Everybody should do their part and give their children everything they can while they're in their house.
I agree.
And provide comfort and when they're at the other house. But it's something that I think that is probably really I think it's something new, and it's something it's important for fathers and mothers to understand that they need to be kind of both when they are in a situation with them by themselves.
I agree.
Yeah. So
you got to adapt quick.
With Mother's Day just passing, how did you celebrate that?
We didn't do too much. It's still pretty fresh. We just kind of, I'm not a huge holiday person anyway, but I want to make sure that Mother's Day, and then, like I said, her birthday was today. So Mother's Day and her birthday in the same week, those, I can see that moving forward. That's going to be a week of different sort of emotions. So we didn't really do too much. And we spoke to my mother, and who loves my daughter, her granddaughter. So they spoke, and and we just kind of had a normal day. I told her it was Mother's Day. She's a little too young to know what's going on, but Mommy's in heaven and celebrating and waiting for us. So today is her day. So we kept it kind of simple.
Okay. But like you said, she's just 4, so if things may change a little bit, like you said, as she gets
As she gets older.
older, you guys might have to do something, special, because that week is going to be, like you said, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a good week to go on a trip.
Yeah, that's what I
like to go on trips.
Yep.
That's what I said.
Any excuse to go.
Any excuse to go on a trip, right?
Once they open up outside again, we're going. Yeah.
Right, exactly. How did you, because she was only 3 though, you probably didn't have to have this conversation, but how did you guys have the conversation about heaven and death? Did you even say the word death?
No, we use heaven, and we've got books, several books. Actually, my wife bought a bunch of books for her explaining things like that, stories of the Bible. What happens to you when you pass, and the families, and in kids form. So we've got books. We don't dwell on it too much, because I don't want her to. I want her to have a sense of what's happening and why me and her are here and mommy's not. But I also wanted to become normal that she's not, so she's not pining for her. Mm-hmm. So it's a balance that I try to work, where we mention her and she has pictures, and sometimes she wants to see her. But we're not focused on her, day to day, all day. Days will go by where we don't mention her, except at night when we pray. We always mention her. But it's a balance that I have to try to navigate. Like I said before, and I'm still learning day to day.
Right.
It's a good journey, and like you said, none of this is happening without God. He's kind of navigating he's kind of guiding the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I learned to trust him years ago, so even in tragic situations like this, there's a message involved, there's a lesson involved, and there's work to be done on the other side of it, to get the blessing that he's got out there. So as a silver lining in all these situations. So it's an ongoing process, and I look forward to continuing on with it.
Wow, you just said a mouthful, because so the show is blessed, and the reason why I started, because I really want people to understand that they are blessed. They just have to make a decision to be blessed, in spite of the circumstances. You wake up and decide that you're going to be blessed. So, and it sounds like that's kind of where you are. You're like, hey, we gonna be blessed. We gonna get through this, and God's got a purpose and a plan, and He's gonna see us through. I mean, that takes a lot to do that. And when right now we're in a time where a lot of people are dying. A lot of people are transitioning, on because of COVID. And so there's a lot of people that are hurting right now. And wow, for somebody like you to be able to share, your strength with people like that, that's going to be very powerful. It's going to be very, very powerful. Because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
No, not easy.
Especially with a toddler at the house.
Yeah, I don't know where I ran out of patience years ago. So I don't know where I got this new crop of patience from to deal with my baby. It's a gift from God. But
and then you're the only one, so it's not like you can say, okay, I need a timeout, let somebody else deal with it. It's like it's all on you. It's all. And then right now with COVID, it's not like you can't even you probably wouldn't even feel comfortable hiring somebody to come in here right now.
No, she has her auntie that she goes to see, and if I need a break, she says, let me know if you need a break. They're hunkered down too, so we're staying safe. I'm like, okay, I'll let you know. And that used to happen like once a month maybe, okay. But now that this COVID has happened, it's just me and her all day long, and I'm like, I would have gone crazy, 10 years ago, but I have a well of patience from somewhere.
And
I'm using that.
Isn't that funny though? Because people say, I know I've always said, man, I don't have enough patience to have a child right now. And I'm like, I'm sure, because I'm getting older. It's like, I don't have patience. And a lot of us feel that way. But, we have what we need. I wholeheartedly believe we have what we need. And that's part of being a Christian, I believe. Yeah. But a lot of, but that's really not the conversation or even a thought pattern of a lot of people that go to church on a regular basis. Yeah. They always feel like they're in lack. They don't have what they need. They don't have enough or whatever. But we really do. We have what we need. We just have to, it's in there.
Yeah.
And God will give us the wisdom to find what we need. If it's outside of us, He will give us the wisdom to go and get it and find out, lead us to where we need to go.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So amazing, right? Look,
yeah.
I don't want the time to go by without us getting to talk about your books. I'm not there anymore, and you are that one thing. We're going to quickly talk about I'm not there anymore, but you are that one thing. That title just like caught me. So tell us about I'm not there anymore first.
Okay, so I have my own past history of checkered experiences and failures and missteps and things I had to go through, and addiction and incarceration. I was locked up a few times and just lost. It was a period of about 6 to 7 years where I just could not get out of my own way, and it was a spiraling down to a rock bottom that I discussed in the book. Mm-hmm. This is between 1996 and about 2001 or 2002, those 6 years or so, before I could get back on track. And how it happened was, we grew up in the church. My father and mother were in two different denominations, so we were in church all week. My mother was on the usher board, and she was in the choir and all of that. So we were in church, with her, and then we were in church with my father. So I had a strong structural Christian upbringing up until the point where I was in high school and finished and went to college. And I'm not going to church anymore. I went to church my whole life. I'm just not going to church anymore. Right. So I broke away from the relationship that I was building, and I had to come back to that. And God was like, no. You're not going to get away because you're out of control, mm-hmm. obviously. So He brought me back through a series of events where some things you have an intuition about and some things for sure. So I had an intuition about how He could move in my life and help me with things. It wasn't until a series of events happened to show me that I was for sure that He was on my side. And that day, that moment was July 24th, 2001 at 9:20 in the morning. I wrote about that experience. It was I was in lockup, but there was a vision, and a lot of great things happened to get me out of that situation and on a good path. And I knew from then I had a responsibility to live the best life that I could, while also sharing my experiences with other people. And then in 2014, a friend suggested, you should probably write a book about all of that. And I said, I don't even know where to begin with that. He said, well, you have an English degree. I said, yeah, I could start there. Right. I guess that's a start. So, I got with some folks and met some authors and learned about the process and put together a book. And it took me about a year to write it, but it's a memoir / self-help encouragement tool for folks who are going through similar issues, or I like to use it with our young folks or students between 18 and 24 years of age, disenfranchised sometimes, opportunity youth, mm-hmm. Students who are going through things that I went through. Okay. So I try to tell them things that, you might not want to do this because that could happen. How do you know? Because I've been there.
Right, because it happened to me.
Right. So there's a responsibility to give back and steer them away from where I went, or anybody that's dealing with trauma or tragedy or anything like that. There are steps you can take to where you can forgive yourself and you can forgive others, and then you can be forgiven and you can move on a new blanket of peace, because you're always covered no matter what the world is doing around you. Mm-hmm. So and that was the inspiration for the book, and that's where it came from, and I wrote it, and it's been well received, and I'm proud of it. So folks tell me that it helps them, and they love the story, and I'm proud of that. So I'm glad to have helped someone through my own suffering. Right.
Now talk about You Are That One Thing.
You Are That One Thing is a book of affirmations that I wanted to share, 30, that could be broken down between a day or a week, a month, or a year. But it's everything from the way the world is going. It almost seems like there are two worlds. There's a world of lies and a world of truth, or a world of despair and a world of happiness. And there's increasing gaps between those entities. There's too much of a gap between, you could say the haves and the have-nots, but folks who know how to get what they want, and then folks who are just in despair and spinning wheels. So how I figured, how do I mesh those two and how to decrease that gap in some way? So I created 30 affirmations that can, once you open your eyes in the morning from slumber, 30 different things you can do and think about in order to be able to cover yourself, your family, past, present, future, the earth, and everybody around you. So if you cover yourself and your family, you cover the earth and you cover those around you. If everybody does that, then, imagine what type of world we could live in, as opposed to the one we're currently living in. So you are that one thing. I try to help folks know that the power for whatever you need, like you said earlier, God has equipped us with the tools that we need to get what we want. If we don't already have it, then we have the tools and we're capable of going to get it. And you are that one thing shows folks how to do that.
Awesome. That's awesome. So where can they go get those books?
You could go to my website, scinspires.com, under the authors section, and you can order them there. And, we got plenty of copies, so let me know. But under scinspires.com, under the authors section. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for being on. Time goes by so fast.
The 30 minutes already?
30
wow.
Minutes yes, it goes by. I told you, it goes by so fast, and it feels like we just skimmed the surface, really. It feels like we have so much that we could say. So if people want to reach out and talk with you more, if they want, they can go to SC Inspires and they can reach you, right? If they
reach me on the message page.
More and get some insight on all the stuff that's going on with you.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on and sharing, opening up about, I don't know if you opened up about this a lot, but I appreciate the fact that you opened up, because this is something new for you.
Yeah, it is.
And it's something that you're growing. It's not like you are an expert, because I know sometimes we have a lot of degrees and we've gone through stuff already. And it's easy to talk about the stuff we've been through.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy talking about the stuff that we are currently going through.
Currently, yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing with us. And
thank you.
For all my listeners, please, please, please remember what God has done for SC, for Sherman, He can do for you. You just gotta believe it. Listen, we won't be here next week and a week after that. So you guys can go and listen to the old shows, so you can be remembered daily, so you can be remembered all through the summer that you are blessed. All you got to do is make the decision to be blessed. And to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. And to my dad, O.C. Tosin, I love you. Happy Father's Day, Daddy.